Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shooting the Brass with Scooter from Scooter's Brass. Um, Thanks for coming in tonight, today, this afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're at. I appreciate it. It's been a busier weekend than I had hoped. I was supposed to shoot 3-gun on Saturday, but I got called into work with an emergency, so I wasn't able to shoot, which kind of sucked because I was really looking forward to it. I don't really get to compete but once a month, so it sucks when you only got the one. So, been a busy week in the gun world, just so you guys are aware. There's been a lot of stuff going on nationwide. We've had some shootings over the weekend. It's been kind of sad, too, because, as soon as we start seeing shootings and stuff like that, then, of course, everybody's like, on the left side is, oh, no, we got to ban guns. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. There's a couple of different things I want to talk about. We'll talk about that first. If you notice, a lot of these places or a lot of these news outlets that are basically, they choose which stories are going to air. Okay. We just had the San Jose shooting where a guy went in and shot up I think it was either a train station or a bus area, something to do with mass transit. And after it was over with, you didn't really see much of it in the news. And my explanation for that is because the media doesn't want you to hear any more about it because it didn't have scary black assault rifles. Those of us in the gun community understand that there's no such thing as an assault rifle. Anything that you assault somebody with is an assault whatever. So if you try to run somebody over, you have an assault car. If you try to hit somebody with a Nerf bat, now you've got an assault Nerf bat. Assault is the action, it's not the tool. And hopefully one of these days people will understand that. I doubt it, but there we are. So we had a few shootings over the weekend. One, I think, was in Georgia, where apparently this guy went to 3 or 4 different places and shot people. I don't think anybody's died from it. There was some some injuries and stuff like that, and they arrested the guy. And I was looking at the story. He's a felon. He's a convicted felon. So when you look at somebody like that, it even says in the charges, possession of stolen firearm. Your gun laws aren't going to help there. When we're talking about gun laws, let's look at it from this standpoint, okay? I'm a liberal. I was a Democrat for many years, and I ran for office for the Arizona Senate for 3 terms, 2012, 2014, 2016 as a Democrat. I had to leave the party because whenever they passed their newest platform back then, it was ban assault rifles. Sorry, you lost me on that one. And so I'm still a liberal and everything, but I don't have a party affiliation, which I think is a lot better because I can choose and do whatever I want without having, the party look frown on it. God, we just need to get rid of political parties, really, honestly. But anyway, so one of the things I saw was that this is an ex-felon, and so his guns he stole. So for those of you that want to talk about common sense gun control and universal background checks, please explain to me how that would have stopped him from getting a weapon and stopped him from shooting people at 3 different locations in Georgia. It wouldn't have. It wouldn't have done a thing because gun control laws, or common sense legislation, as the left likes to call it, doesn't do anything to the criminals because the criminals don't give a shit. Okay? The criminals are criminals. They're not going to follow the law. The Columbine shooting in 1999. Those 2 kids, none of those guns they bought themselves. They illegally obtained those. They had a friend of theirs who happened to be of the right age buy the guns, do a straw purchase, and give the guns to them. So here again, somebody who was legally allowed to buy a gun, bought a gun, and gave it to people who were going to do destruction. Gun laws would not have stopped that. It bugs me because when you look at it, and I was doing some research over this, and we have this this article. It's in the Los Angeles Times, and it's from August 4th of 2019. And they studied all of the mass shootings from 1966 to 2019. And they found some surprising, or not actually very surprising, but they found several things that, matched up. 4 commonalities among the perpetrators. Okay, first, all of the vast majority of mass shooters experienced early childhood trauma and exposure to violence at a young age. Okay, this screams mental health. But no, let's talk about common sense gun. No, let's talk about mental health, because the tool is not what causes the shooting. It's the person utilizing the tool, right? The nature of their exposure included parental suicide, physical or sexual abuse, neglect, domestic violence, and or severe bullying. The trauma was often a precursor to mental health concerns, including depression, anxiety, thought disorders, and suicidality. So here's the root cause of these mass shootings. Whether you like it or not, they studied all of the mass shootings from 1966, and that started with the Deadly Tower in Austin, for any of you that are from Texas and understand what that means, all the way up to 2019. So that's what they found. That was the first thing that they noticed. The second thing that they noticed, every single mass shooter had reached an identifiable crisis point in the weeks or months leading up to the shooting. They had become angry, despondent because of some sort of specific grievance. For workplace shooters, a change in job status was frequently a trigger. Shooters in other contexts, relationship rejection or loss often played a role. Such crises were, in many cases, communicated to others through a marked change in behavior, an expression of suicidal thoughts or plans, or specific threats of violence. So the warning signs are there. So tell me again how common sense gun laws is going to fix that. It's not. Okay, we all know that. Okay, let me rephrase that. Back up, reverse it. Those of us that understand how the Constitution works and what gun laws should be doing, understand that. The third thing they found was that most of the shooters had studied the action of other shooters and sought validation for their motives. Copycats. They study previous mass shooters. Why do they do that? Because they want to have the same notoriety. They want to go down in a blaze of glory. It's a mental health issue. Let's stop focusing on gun control laws and start focusing on getting people mental health assistance of some sort. The fourth thing they found was that all shooters had the means to carry out their plans. Once someone decides, oh, my camera just turned off. Well, that sucks. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. We're going to have to switch cameras if I can. That blows. Let's see if I can get another camera to turn on. Okay, here we go. Sorry, it's the crap one. I don't understand why it turned off, but it is what it is. So anyway, so we're looking at it. Let's see here. Switch back to it. Once someone decides life is no longer worth living and that murdering others will be a proper revenge, only means and opportunity stand in the way of another mass shooting. Is an appropriate shooting site accessible? Can the would-be shooter obtain firearms? 80% of the school shootings, the perpetrators got their weapons from family members. Here we are again. Same thing. Gun laws, universal background checks won't stop that from happening. Now, one of the things they noticed is that for workplace shooters, they tended to use handguns that they legally owned. Other public shooting were most likely acquired them illegally. Okay, so that pretty much tells you that you can make all the new gun laws that you want, and the only people that are being affected by it are people that follow the law. All right? The rest of us that follow the law, we're going to be impacted. The criminals, they're going to continue to do what they're doing. So that's the thing. Another step to try to stop that kind of thing is to make it more difficult for potential perpetrators to find validation for their planned actions. Okay? That's the problem. They go and do this kind of stuff, and they end up on Oprah, or they end up on social media as being this whatever. Okay, so we're basically giving them what they want by raising them up and giving them notoriety. Bad idea. We need to stop doing that kind of stuff. So when you think about it, this kind of stuff happens all the time. Okay, you're going to have people who are, here, let me fix this a little bit. You're going to have people that are going to get the tools, whether you like it or not. Okay, they're going to be able to obtain a firearm. They're going to be able to obtain the, look at Timothy McVeigh. What did he do? He went out and he got AMFO. For those of you who don't know what AMFO is, it's nitrogen-based fertilizer plus diesel fuel. Turns into an explosive. Filled up a truck with it and destroyed the government, the FBI building, I think it was, in Oklahoma City. Killed 180-something people. No gun there. Okay. That's the problem. You guys keep wanting to focus on the tool and not on the real fucking problem. And that real problem is mental health issues. So we've had an uptick in 2021 in shootings. Okay. We've spent the past year in lockdown. Everybody has been quarantined and stuffed in their home and not allowed to go out and live. Okay. It's going to create depression. It's going to create mental health issues that need to be discussed or need to be dealt with. But what is it when you have some sort of an issue and you can't even go to the doctor without proving you don't have COVID, which you have to wait 5, 6, 10 days to get a damn result anyway? We went through this. My wife and I both had COVID last year, and it took 12, 13 days to get a result. We missed 5 weeks of work for 3 days of being sick. Does it make sense? No. So, but that's the problem. We don't focus on what actually is necessary or what needs to be dealt with. We focus on the what the hell, who gives a shit thing. So we need to focus more on mental health issues and getting people the proper mental health care as opposed to working on trying to ban guns or common sense gun control. Now, speaking of common sense gun control, we're going to shoot off to another section of that. It was not too long ago that a liberal friend of mine, I think she's still in the Democratic Party. She used to be one of the executive board members of the Arizona Democratic Party, messaged me and told me that I need to be a part of this conversation of common sense gun control. Now, I've tried to be a part of that conversation several times. The problem is nobody wants to listen. Okay. You see all these people, oh, we got to do universal background checks. Oh, we got to get ghost guns. That's the new one that the Biden administration decided to throw ghost guns. Really? Whatever. Okay, that's bullshit. There's been no evidence of ghost guns being used in any kind of shootings. Anyway, so she was telling me that I need to be a part of the gun control or the common sense gun control conversation. What I told her was, I tried to be a part of that conversation, and everybody ignored me because they don't want to hear what I have to say as being, a Second Amendment gun owner person. They don't want to hear that. They just want to talk to people that believe the same way that they do. And it's like that on both sides. If you look at the right nowadays, if you don't believe that the 2020 election was hijacked, then you're not a Republican or you're not a conservative. If you don't support Trump, you're not a conservative. Same on the left. You don't support Biden? Oh, you're not a liberal. You don't support, banning assault rifles, which don't exist, by the way. You're not a liberal. Okay, stop it. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit ever. But that is the thing. I tried to have this conversation with the leadership people of Maricopa County Democratic Party, the Pinal County Democratic Party, because I live in Pinal County, even the Arizona State Democratic Party executive committee, and they don't want to listen. They don't care, because all they want to do is what they want to do. Notice they never talk to people who are on the left that are actual gun owners that support the Second Amendment. Why do they not bring us into the conversation if they want to truly make common sense gun laws? Because if they're not gun owners themselves, they don't know what common sense gun laws are. Universal background check, sure, go ahead. Criminal's still going to get a gun. If he really wants one, he or she, they're still going to get a gun. common sense gun laws only affect those that follow the law. Plain and simple. So, those of you on the left that want to ban guns or create common sense gun laws, okay, start talking to the people on the left that are gun owners, because they can give you ideas and tell you what you need to do to create common sense gun laws. And personally, I'm glad I live in Arizona because we're constitutional carry. So, we're also, I think, recently voted by the House and the Senate and signed by the governor a Second Amendment sanctuary state. So basically saying that the federal government, if they do any more gun laws, it doesn't work in Arizona because we don't follow that shit. Now, the other side to this is appearance, perception. Okay. I've been spending a lot of time messing around with TikTok, for those of you that are familiar with it. I've been uploading individual stages for my competitions. People can see what I do when I'm competing, what kind of stages I go through, what targets, all that other kind of crap. But going through and looking at a lot of the posts by people on TikTok, I've noticed a specific trend from both the left and the right. Both the left and the right do nothing but try to trigger each other. Okay, so I saw this post about some lady said she found the liberal theme song, and it's an older song. Don't know much about history, don't know much about biology, don't know much about a science book. I can't remember the name of the song, but you get the idea. Why? What's the purpose of that? What does it do? Absolutely nothing. It just keeps people divided, right? The same thing on the left side. The left side does that too, where they show videos of people talking about not wanting to get COVID, and they go off about how, they don't care about people. How can they be pro-life if they don't, want to protect other people? They just care about themselves. Enough, okay? The world is not about trying to find a new way every day to trigger those that you don't agree with. That is the social media way. That's not life. Okay? If we didn't have social media, we wouldn't have people trying to trigger the left or trigger the right. We wouldn't have snowflakes and race, all this other crap. Okay? All of that is through social media. Be responsible. Don't share that crap. Don't spend your time trying to own the other side. Because it really is not, it solves nothing. It may crack you up a little bit, but it doesn't solve anything. If you want to be a responsible American, like me, try to bridge the gap between the left and the right. Because that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years. I've been trying to get people on the right who are strong Second Amendment people, and the people on the left that are strong Second Amendment people, to get past the right versus left thing and actually come together and work on Second Amendment issues. And I've won some small skirmishes here and there, but the battle is far from won because everybody's going to need to be a part of that idea, that ideology, that the Constitution is not a left versus right thing. It is an American thing. And supporting the Constitution shouldn't be political. It's a patriot thing, okay? A patriot is not somebody that's conservative. A patriot is not somebody that's liberal. A patriot is somebody that loves the country so much that they'll do what they have to do to support its laws. Here, in this case, the Constitution. So, you want to get rid of the Second Amendment? As far as I'm concerned, you're un-American. If you want to preserve the Second Amendment, or the First Amendment, or the 14th Amendment, or the 20th Amendment, any of that kind of stuff, then I consider you an American, because that's what our country is built on, is that Constitution. So, let's try to reduce the bullshit stuff that we share on social media that's meant to trigger the other side, because it really doesn't do anything except just keep dividing the people. That's what they want. And when I say they, I'm talking about the politicians. I'm talking about corporations. I'm talking about the lobbyists. I'm talking about organizations that make money off of the conflict. Point in fact, the gun debate. Okay. How much money do you think flows to these organizations that support or that are pro-gun or anti-gun? Okay. I did a speech on this to the Greater Phoenix Mensa, because think about it. Okay. Something like this happens. Biden goes on TV and says, we need to do gun control. All of a sudden, people are donating money to people like the NRA, the Liberal Gun Club, any of the pro-gun organizations in the United States. On the other side of that, when there's a shooting, everybody that's anti-gun starts throwing money at, like, Moms Demand Action, I think is one of them. There's a couple of different liberal or anti-gun organizations that are national organizations out there. They throw all that money on it. Do you really think that those organizations want the anti-gun versus pro-gun conflict to end? No, because they get paid by it. They make millions of dollars a year by people throwing money at them because of the conflict. So why do they really want to give that up? That's why you don't see any real organizations or real things going that will stop it. It's the same thing for abortion. Okay, it was part of my speech then too. Abortion, pro-life versus pro-choice. The pro-life side is making shit tons of money. The pro-choice side is making shit tons of money. Why aren't both sides, if they really want to protect the choice of a woman and the life of a child, why are neither side focused on pro-prevention? Because if you prevent the unwanted pregnancies, they're not there to abort. It's done. It's gone. They don't want that because who's making money on it? You got to always remember, follow the money. Okay? Planned Parenthood's making a shit ton of donations from people on the left that are all for pro-choice. Organizations like Center for Arizona Policy and all these different pro-life organizations are making millions of dollars a year by people who are pro-life. Okay, well, why can't they come together and be pro-prevention? That solves everything. And there's no more conflict. But that's not what they want because that's not how they make money. So, always follow the money. What else did I want to talk about today? I'm trying to think, but nothing happens. Funny how that works. I've been building ammo. I was supposed to go to the range today and test my ammo. I built 308, 223, 45, and 9mm ammo. I made a specific amount of rounds of each based on powder load. For example, for 223, I started at 19.5 grains of powder, then went up to 19.6, 19.7, 19.8, through the entire recommended powder loads based on feet per second, discharge, all that kind of stuff. So I've got all that ready. I don't have a chronographer. Chronograph. Chronographer. I'm just a dumbass. I don't have a chronograph. A friend of mine does, but I don't know how to use it. So we were going to go today, but his wife wasn't feeling really well today, and he didn't think he was going to make it. So we canceled it for now. But for those of you that out there reload, how many of you, does anybody out there have the ability to get any primers? I can get powder. I can get bullets. I can get I can't get 4570 casings because I've been trying. I've got a whole bunch of 4570 405 grain lead rounds, but no brass. I've got everything else I've got some of, but trying to find primers apparently is the hardest part of reloading at this point. But I've been, kind of perfecting everything and working on most of the things that I've been working on is cleaning the brass because I really like it when the brass is nice and clean. So I'm going to give you an example of a piece of nice clean brass. Okay, see that? I tumbled that. It's pretty. I use a wet tumbler, the Hornady wet tumbler, for those of you that were asking. And I basically use mostly water with some Dawn dishwashing detergent and a little bit of what's called Lemmy Shine, which is this stuff. It is a dish detergent booster. You only want to use a little of this or your shell casings turn out pink, okay, because it's kind of acidic. But if you take your, it's probably about a gallon or so in the tumbler, you add some Dawn dishwashing, maybe half a teaspoon of this. Your brass comes out really, really nice. Very, very clean. I've got a load of 38 special brass in the what do they call this damn thing? Dehydrator. Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome, babe.
The dehydrator is cooking 50 shell casings for 38 because I got to do the same for that. A friend of mine has 38 special, and I'm trying to load some ammo for her because, let's face it, ammo cost right now just skyrockets. You can't get really decent ammo anymore without spending $40-$50, depending on what it is. $34.95 for a box of 9mm. It used to be like $12. So for those of you out there that want to get into reloading, I can tell you from personal experience, it's expensive getting started. But once the prices and stuff come down, when powder comes down and primers are available and come down and brass and everything else, it's going to be a big difference. You can make your own ammo. You can also, if you figure out how to do it right, build custom ammo if you're a competitive shooter like I am, where you have custom ammo built specifically for example. So you have 223 that's made for precision distance. You can create ammo specifically based on that. You can test it, figure out exactly what works best, and then go. I'm more at this point just trying to actually be able to make my own ammo because I want to be able to have ammo. And when I go through ammo at a competition, I can't easily replace that unless I can make my own. So I'd rather just buy it. But here we are. That's just the way it is. So I use the Hornady system. I also use RCBS dies for 308 and 223. I have a Lee crimp die, which is a factory crimp die made by Lee that is probably one of the best. And it crimps your 223 rounds really, really nice. I use Hornady one-shot case lube for when I'm actually trying to reshape and resize 223 and 308. Works really well. You just spray a little bit on there, and that way you don't get your, shell casing stuck in your die set, because that will happen. And then, of course, I use a humidifier or a dehydrator to dry the brass because it works really well. Not only can I do apples and oranges and stuff like that, I can do brass. Go figure. But this is kind of my desk, and you can't really see it so much from this camera because that camera turned off, which blows. I got to figure out how to fix that so that it doesn't turn off because that's really good. It's a GoPro 8, Hero 8, and it's much better color. It's much better. It's clearer. Just works a lot better. But I have two different, I don't know if you can see them over here. This right here is the powder dispenser. So I've got one for pistol and I've got one for rifle. Separates two. You can see the safe behind me. There's not any guns in there, so don't worry about that. Just, they were all lost in a boating accident, just in case, But yeah, I mean, as a Second Amendment person myself, my wife and I spent a lot of time actually looking at how to do things better. And we've come up with a lot of good things. The one thing that we do know is that realistically, we're never going to actually, I don't think we're ever actually going to come together anymore on the left and the right because there's too much animosity between left versus right. And it's affecting the two-way community. I've been in groups where all they do is bash liberals. And it's like, well, I'm a liberal. And I'm a gun owner. And then they flame you for that. So it's easier to just leave the group and not even be a part of it. We got to stick together, folks. We got to work together and get things put together like that. So anyway, that's probably it for today. I'm still trying to see if I can get people to come on the show with me. Still working out the kinks with the cameras and the microphones and stuff like that, just so you're aware. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please email me at scootersbrass@gmail.com. If you want to be on the show and discuss 2A things without turning it, right versus left, please let me know. I'll send you the link to be able to get into the show. It is audio video, so you have to be prepared for that. But yeah, so stay safe out there. Keep your heads down if you need to. And I hope you guys have a really good week. Thanks for watching. See you next week.